Today in this session, we are going to discuss about the web services and API, means what are web services and what are the APIs, so that we can understand the difference easily. So for that, first of all, we will discuss the API. And to understand the API, we will take a real example. So now suppose take the example in a restaurant, there is a customer and customer want to eat some dishes. So what he will do? He need to order that dishes. Now the thing is that where those dishes are prepared, those dishes are prepared by a chef in the same restaurant. Okay. Now the thing is that the customer cannot directly give the order to the chef, or you can say that he cannot interact directly with the chef because he is working separately. Now how they can communicate it? For that purpose, a person comes into the picture as a middleman. And who is that? That is waiter. Okay, so now waiter will work as a mediator between the customer and the chef. And what it will do, whenever customer wants something, he will make an order to the waiter, and waiter take this order, request of order to the chef. Now chef will prepare the dish and waiter will bring it from the kitchen and then will deliver this order to the customer. So here you can say that this waiter working as a interface is working as a interface between the customer and chef, so that they don't need to interact each other directly, and now he will work as a communicator between them. Okay, now same thing, let me take the example in respect of, you can say, in the software. Suppose take the example, there is an end user. Okay, she is an end user, and now in the end user, she want to do something. Suppose take the example, what she want to do, there is a database. So from the database, she want to fetch some data from the database here. So now what she can do, she will write a program. Okay, using the program, she want to fetch some data from the database. So what she will do, she want to fetch some data, so she need a mediator for that. And that mediator, in, you can say, in terms of you can say IT, in terms of software, this mediator is nothing, it is a software, it is a program. Okay, it can be a software, it can be a program, and which works as a mediator. So now what this mediator, which is called API, application programming interface, what this mediator do, same thing like the waiter, she takes the request from the end user, or you can say end user request data from this API, this mediator, and now it this API process the request according to the need, because she requested the data related to the DB connection. So she provided the detail like which database, something like that. And now API send the request or process the request, and now API get the result from the DB, and now API send that data to the end user. So here API is working as a middleman. It is working as a communicator. It is working as a interface. So API, that's why API is called application programming interface, means whenever two applications or two machines want to communicate to each other, you can take the help of API. Okay, so now you understand what is the API. API is nothing. API is an application programming interface, or you can say it is a way of for two or more computer programs or components to communicate each other. So it is a type of software interface offering a service to other pieces of software. So now it is clear that API is nothing. It is a, you can say it is a program. And what is the use of that program? It is a program, or you can say it is a software. The purpose of this software is to communicate between two computer programs or two components with each other. Okay, so now it provides so many type of services. It depends on that what type of service, you can see, you want to provide using your this application programming interface. Okay, I think this is clear. Now let me give you the, you can say, another example. One example is that, suppose take the example, this is your computer, and your computer, this is a, you can say, you have a database. Okay, you have a database, and now you want to write a program. So you can say this database, actually you can say on your system, same machine. Okay, and this Java Eclipse, Java program, whatever you want to write, you have a Eclipse or any tool for that, any ID. So where you want to write a program to fetch the data from this, you can say database. So how you can connect from this Java code to this database server to fetch the data? You use a mediator between that. You use a program for that. You can use a program. You can say a software. You can say library. These are different terms. You can say that, but in simple words, you can say that you need a program or you need an interface so that you can send your request and fetch the data from the this database server. And for example, that is JDBC. Okay, so JDBC, what JDBC do? You can say that you can send your query to JDBC. JDBC is called Java Database Connectivity. And if you go to the internet, try to find out what is JDBC. So you will see the term JDBC means Java Database Connectivity Library. Okay, so means you can this with using this API, using this library, you can connect with the database, but the condition is that only Java code can use it. So this API is only for Java. So you can send a request. Now this request is run executed on the DB, and now it get the result, and that data is in the form of response sent to the, you can see, your program. So it means here JDBC is working as a API. If JDBC is nothing, JDBC is just like a program. It is a small program or set of programs, you can say. So it works as a API between your Java program and the database so that it can interact. So this is API. If you want to see the another example, suppose take the example in your machine, we have an Excel file. And now this time we want to write a program to read the data from this Excel. Now again, same thing is that how you can fetch the data from your Java program and from this Excel. Again, you need a mediator for that. And in this case, there is a software program. There is a, you can say, small program or small software, or you can say library, that is called Apache POI. So what you can do, this API, this Apache POI API, what it do? It takes you can send your request data. You can request your data from this API. Like I want to read the data from the Excel. Now it will read the data. This API on your behalf, whatever you will say, it will read the data from, you can say, it will read the data from this Excel. And now then it will get the data from the Excel, and now it will send the data to the program. So in simple words, you can say that this Apache POI is working as a API. So you have seen that there are so many programs. There are so many, you can say, examples of, you can say, they are working as a library, or we call it API. So API means there is a software program which is working to interact between two applications, or you can say two programs. So here you can say example, this is a Java program, this is one application, or you can say that Excel file. So you are working as a communicator. So this is the, you can say, another example. Now what is the, you can say, you can say, now I can show you another aspect. What is that? Another aspect is that, suppose take the example, you have one system. Okay, and this is a, suppose take the example, your another system. One system is your, you can say, Windows system. Another system is your, you can say, Unix system. So now it means this time I'm talking about that we are talking about two different machines, two different components. Okay, now these two machines are there, and now in one machine you have to write a Java program, another machine you have to write a C# program. So now you can see the difference is that you have two different machine. First thing is that you have two different machine, and two different machine you can say contains different type of operating system. In one machine I have Windows operating system, and another machine we have Unix. One challenge, we have two different machine, one challenge. Second, both can contain different operating system. Third thing is that in first machine I am writing a Java program to get the data from the DB. Okay, second, in the second machine I'm writing a code in the C# so that I can get the data from a DB here. So now first thing is that this is your, suppose take the example, this is your server, because I need, in that case, whenever you from two different system you want to connect to the, you can say, DB. So it is 100% that your database will be on a common location, on a some different centralized location. So you can say this is your application server where you have just put your program like JDBC. So JDBC API, you have put it on your this application server. Now the thing is that these, there are three components: one Windows machine, one Unix machine, and third component is your this database server where you have put your JDBC. So how they will interact? So first thing is that if they want to interact, they all need to be connected in a network. And what is that network? It can be any type of network. It can be intranet, it can be anything, but usually we talk about the internet, so that every machine is connected with the, you can say, that internet. So now you can say that first thing is that these all machines should be connected with the internet so that they can communicate. But the thing is that now they are interconnected, but the condition is that this API, this JDBC API is actually, you can say, available on the internet. So if any machine want to interact with this API or want to send the request, now they have to follow some protocol. They have to follow some protocol to connect this JDBC, which is available on this, you can say, database server or application server. They have to follow some, you can say, some protocols. So those protocols for the internet that are HTTP, SOAP-API, it can be anything. Okay, so we can use HTTP or SOAP, or you can say both way can use. This is the first channel. Means if you want to interact, this is the first thing. Second thing is that because you know that whenever you want to connect JDBC, I told you it is a Java API which can handle Java, which can handle Java related request, or you can say a Java program can send the request to get the data from the database using the JDBC API. But now the question is that how C# will work, because C# code cannot send a request to the JDBC. JDBC is the API which is written only for Java programs. Now the question is that I make this JDBC API available on the center machine, now on the network also, but the challenge is that how C# can interact with it. How C# program can interact it, because JDBC only understand Java, Java related concept, Java related coding. So now the here challenge, how this challenge is removed by that. Okay, again I'm saying that I'm talking about JDBC for example purpose, but I want to show you that how this API is converted into, or how this API is, you can say, treated as a web service. Now I told you the challenge is that this JDBC can interact with the Java only. This cannot interact with any other language. Even it cannot interact with any, you can say, any other operating system. So now all these challenges are removed by the concept that this API actually enhanced a feature that whenever somebody want to send a request, I will take the request in the form of XML. You are developed on Java, you are a Java program, you are a C# program, it doesn't matter. But if you want to get some data from me, you want to send some request to fetch data from me, like in our current case, you want to fetch some data from some database, you will send me the request in the form of XML or JSON. And when I process the request, I will also return the result in form of XML. So in this way, you can say this API, this JDBC API, which was actually, you can say, API. Now, when it was come into the picture, something like that, it was available on a machine. Now it has, it can be interacted with the help of HTTP protocols. Now it actually takes the request in the form XML and send the response in the JSON. And XML and JSON, these are the, you can say, markup language, and it is not depend on any programming language. It is not depend on any operating system. So means it means now this API, which is I'm calling currently, I'm just taking the example JDBC. Now it has just, you can say, solved all these problems that any language from any machine can interact with me, because my interaction is that just use the HTTP protocol and send me the request data in the XML, and I will send you the response in the same XML and JSON. So now in this case, this JDBC now is become a web service. So actually you can say that web's API is one component, but when API actually follows how API is exposed to the, you can say, other person, how API can be used by other person. So that you can say that whole structure, that whole web technologies, all these technology, all this protocol decides that how they will be exposed or can be used by other things, and this whole thing is called web service. It means now this JDBC, which was previously only API, now in this case just the same JDBC will call as web service. So now in simple words, what we can say that web service is a method of communication between two electronic devices over a network. So we are saying that we are trying to make a communication between two, you can say, different devices, and how we are trying to interact with, for that purpose we are using a API. we are using the API. So in API we are using some concept, that's why it becomes as a web service. So now you can say that the conclusion is that, because I told you every web service is an API. It means whenever we are talking about web service, it means there is a API which is in the picture. Okay, but it is not necessary that every API is a service, because it depends. I told you, if API is, you can say, we are using API for internal purpose, we don't need any network, any protocols, we don't need it, is simple a program. But when we want to expose this API over the internet, then we have to follow some rules, like I told you about the HTTP protocols, like you can say XML JSON format. When these all things comes to the picture, same things becomes the API. Okay, I hope you understand the concept of, you can say, web service and API. And if you have any type of query, you can put in the comment of this video. Thanks for watching.